Glad to have you back. We're continuing on Elijah the Tishbite, and today we're in the 18th chapter where he takes the prophets up to the top of Mount Carmel. So I want to speak today on a prophet's summit, and here's how it starts. Elijah tells Obadiah, who's the chief of staff of Ahab's house, I want you to go tell your master, behold, Elijah is here. Say that. Behold, Elijah is here. Notice he didn't ask, may I please have an audience with the king? Instead he said, listen buddy, Elijah's here. I'm ready to see you. Now there was a time that Elijah was there. Now he is here. Remember, he commanded the ravens to sustain him there. And then in Zarephath I have commanded a widow to sustain thee there. Elijah had been there, but ultimately God sends you there so he can get you to here. So that's my first point. Sometimes God takes you there to get you here. For instance, you went to Bible college there. Now you're pastoring a church here. Paul was on the backside of the Arabian desert. He was there. Now he's preaching in Ephesus. He is here. You went to the desert sand of Iraq to fight the enemy there. So that what? So that America can have freedom here. That's the way it works. You had a desire to go to a mission trip and you went over there. Now you loved it there so much that you moved there, and now there is here. You're serving on the mission field. So sometimes he has to send you there to get you here. Second, I want you to see that the church is supposed to be setting the agenda for planet Earth. We're not to be tailing behind. What do you mean by that? After he told Ahab, behold, Elijah is here, verse 16 says Ahab went to meet Elijah. Now Ahab is on Elijah's time clock. He's on Elijah's agenda. And that's basically what it said in Deuteronomy 28 and verse 13. Behold, the Lord will make you the head and not the tail, above only and not beneath. Another way of saying that, the church is to be the locomotive and not the caboose. We're to be plowing ahead as the locomotive and not tailing behind as the caboose. But most churches today, I see they're just following along the trend of time of the world. That's not the way it's supposed to be. Isaiah 9 and verse 15, the prophet that teaches lies, he is the tail. Sometimes the world wags the dog and the prophet follows behind, but that's not Elijah. He was the leader. He's the locomotive. And then number 3, don't blame the fireman if the house is burning down. Or in other words, don't blame the doctor if he gives you a bad diagnosis. Notice what Ahab said to Elijah. Are you he that troubles Israel? See, Ahab thought the problem was Elijah, and that's what the left always thinks. If we could just get rid of right-wing conservatives, if we could get rid of fundamental Christians, they're the problem. They're the ones that trouble Israel. But listen what Elijah said. No, I'm not the troublemaker. I'm the troubleshooter. In verse 18, he said, I have not troubled Israel, but you and your house, and that you have forsaken the commandments of the Lord and hast followed Balaam. In other words, the economy is not the problem. Sin is the problem. Global warming is not the problem. Global cooling is the problem, because we've got cold on God. And then number 4, you call a showdown and the devil will have to back down. Now he calls them to Mount Carmel. I didn't say Mount Caramel. He wasn't a caramel sugar-coated preacher. We're not the sugar of the earth. We're the salt of the earth. And he calls 450 prophets of Baal and 400 prophets that served at the beck and call of Jezebel, and calls them to a duel on Mount Carmel between monotheism and polytheism. And when he had a showdown and called the devil's bluff, when he had a showdown, the devil had to back down. And then number 5, let's close with this. This is the ultimate prophet's summit. Have you ever heard of that? Listen, I get weary of all the conferences, conventions, and quote, summits that we have. Apostles Summit, Christian Writers Summit, Contemporary Christian Worship Leaders Summit. We have all these summits and they haven't done a thing to defeat Baal worship. I'll tell you, the true summit we need is Moses up on Sinai. That's a summit. Or Abraham ready to sacrifice Isaac, his son, up on Moriah. That's a summit. Or Jesus transfigured on Mount Hermon. That's a summit. And here, Elijah up on Mount Carmel saying, let the God that answers by fire be God. That's the kind of summit that will change things. And listen, there's nobody in the Bible ever came closer to tempting tempting the Lord when he said, let the God that answers by fire be God. But listen, God liked the dare, because without faith it's impossible to please him, and his faith pleased God. Elijah the Tishbite. Hope you're enjoying this. Like, if you like, share it with a friend, and tune in tomorrow as we get up on Mount Carmel and see the fire fall and the glory fall. See you tomorrow.